What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Real Estate Moguls. My name is Findlay-Shirras, and on today's show, we have a real estate superstar who specializes in luxury real estate and real estate for celebrities and pro athletes. So if you're interested in getting into this niche, then you're going to want to stay tuned for this interview. He is the National Director for Compass Sports and Entertainment's division. Formerly with the agency, got his MBA from Pepperdine University, and was on the hit TV show Kofis Selling LA. He is a really cool cat. I'm excited to meet him. So get your popcorn out and let's get to know Mr. Kofi Nartey. How you doing, man?
Good.
Thanks for being on the show.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
So it's really cool, the position you're in, the people you work with now, and I'm sure there's a story to get there.
Sure.
Why don't you kind of let people know who you are and how you are where you're at now?
Definitely. I'll give you the abbreviated version of it.
Yeah.
I've been in real estate for 16 years now. I wasn't always in real estate, but I grew up in Southern California, went to Berkeley where I played football. Oh. And go Bears, any Golden Bears out there. And then I had a shot with the Oakland Raiders, John Gruden's first year. So it's interesting.
Really?
We're here in Vegas, and the Raiders are coming back to Vegas now with John Gruden again. So that's an interesting thing.
Are they?
They are. Next year they'll be here. And then I moved back to LA and got into acting. So I did acting for 10 years, everything from commercials to TV shows to a few movies. So I had a sports and entertainment background. And so when I got into real estate, I didn't always focus on sports and entertainment, but I knew I needed a niche. It's an oversaturated market. It's like everyone in LA was an actor or a real estate agent, and I was both. I was screwed, right? Yeah. So I had to carve out a space for myself, and I knew a lot of people in those areas, and so I decided to do that. But like you said, it wasn't always that. I started with condos and townhomes because I owned a townhome, and I was HOA president, and figured, okay, I know this. But to scale my business, I figured I need to find a niche that had a higher price point, and one that was underserved, needed protecting, they had different lifestyle needs as well. So sports and entertainment became my thing.
Now, you have that background. You played football,
Sure.
You were a pro athlete, so you obviously mixed and mingles with them. Do you think that's essential to be able to work with celebrities and pro athletes for people who are thinking about that niche?
It's not essential. It helps. It helps. I ended up writing a book about it called Celebrity with an S,
Okay.
Sellebritty.
Oh, that's cool.
How to build a successful sports and entertainment-based business. But the way that I wrote the book is it's transferable to anyone. Like the skills that I share and the tips and tricks that I share are transferable to anyone. Because it wouldn't make sense to have played or have to have been an actor or worked in entertainment to be able to service them. Now, because I've done it, I have, I think, more depth of experience because I've tasted it, touched it, experienced it. But a lot of the agents that I know, even in our sports and entertainment division now, never played sports. They've never acted in a movie. They've never been rejected from an audition. They've never had to deal with any of that. But they are amazing real estate agents who understand the discretion, the privacy, and some of the lifestyle needs that athletes and entertainers have.
So let's kind of go deeper into that.
Sure.
Because you've worked with non-celebrity athletes and you work with them. What are the differences with how do you work with them?
Sure.
How do you serve them so that they're super happy? What's the differences?
Yeah, even now, I'd say 60% of my business are non-celebrities. About 35 to any given time, 35 to 40% of my business are athletes, entertainers, celebrities. But because their lifestyles are different, sometimes they move more often. We have to have movers and staffers that understand how to move them, how to move their families, how to deal with the wives and children or husbands sometimes and children and precious belongings and Academy Awards and NBA trophies and not taking selfies with them. So there's a lot of non-disclosure agreements. There's a lot of vetting of the vendors, and there's a lot of dealing with their teams, the business manager, the wealth manager, the best friend, the mother, the father, and you have to be able to navigate that space delicately as well.
Interesting. So I'm sure some people are probably wondering, who are some of the people that you've worked with? You're really proud and happy that you've been able to work with them and serve them.
Well, I'm proud and happy with all of them, and to be honest, about 60, 70% of them I signed non-disclosure agreements, so I can't even say. But I've worked with, everyone from one of my college teammates, Tony Gonzalez was one of my first clients.
Oh.
I've worked with, so yeah, some of them are public knowledge that I've worked with. I worked with Kevin Durant, Andre Iguodala. I worked with Nick Young, Swaggy P, Candace Parker, the WNBA, Nev Campbell, actress, James Vanderbeek.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people that I can't name, and then a few that I can. And discretion's big, so I want to.
Any, so I mean, people probably think like, oh, that's so fun, it's so glamorous, people work with these people, but I bet you there's some stuff that's not so fun, not so great, some weird, awkward requests. So can you tell me some cool stories?
It's. I think the key thing to remember is celebrity, non-celebrity, athlete, entertainer. They all share one thing in common: they're people. They're human, and every human has some isms or quirks about them. I think that even affluence and wealth affords you to lean into your isms more because you can be pickier because you can afford to be pickier. I had an entertainment client, a very, very well-known musician, and we were looking for properties, and their number one criteria was how many people could fit in the shower. It's like you don't get that kind of stuff. And he was married, and so I was like, huh? But oddly enough, his wife had the same question. We just want to know how many people we can fit in the shower.
That is hilarious.
Rockstar lifestyle, but to each their own.
Yeah, that is so, okay.
That's it.
So let's talk about moving into luxury.
Sure.
What were some of the changes that you had to make business-wise, structure-wise, in terms of the investments you made in your business, the way you did marketing, the way you did your branding? What were some of those changes that you made when you went into luxury?
When we have a full day, I can give you the full story.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it was trials and tribulations, trying things, experimenting with things that failed. But one thing I did know is I needed to create a brand that resonated with the clients I wanted to serve. So everything from new business cards to a new website to new branding that would speak to the needs of the clientele I wanted to serve. And then it required some research too. I tell agents all the time, if you're going to focus on a certain area, whether it's first-time home buyers, retirees, condos, high-rises, what are the differences in the needs of the buyers and sellers for those types of properties that you need to be dialed in with, right? And so for sports and entertainment, there's some very specific needs and differences. For first-time home buyers, it's usually down payment, and they don't need a huge place. For retirees, they're downsizing, single level, they don't want stairs. So all these little nuances I had to start learning more of. And as I started doing the business, my learning curve grew just a lot faster because I was dealing with their business managers, I was dealing with their attorneys, and the questions they would ask, I would have to know how to answer.
Yeah. Now, there are a lot of personalities in the real estate industry, and I do believe that everyone has a certain demographic to work with that they're much better at. So when you think about these is the kind of personalities and the values of the agent that will be successful in luxury, and if this is who you are as a person, it's not for you. And that's not a bad thing because you need to go find your niche that's not, and luxury won't be it.
Sure.
Even though it looks cool, it's not, trust me, you'll hate your life if you enter it. So how would you describe those two different types of agents?
That's a good question. I think, with the luxury clientele or just affluent clientele in general, it's very service-based. You have to be ready to provide a higher level of service, right? And so you start looking at things through a different lens. When I walk into the room and I see a couch or a pillow and it's crooked, well, my luxury mind says it needs to be straightened out. My more modestly priced property mind, you may not even think about those things. Yeah. Another huge word that I use a lot is anticipation, right? For that level of service to be heightened, anticipating their needs or anticipating the challenges they may have in a transaction, anticipating ways to protect them, anticipating what may make the experience better. If they show up to a property that they're renting and move-in day or that they've purchased and I have their favorite wine and their favorite fruits on the counter, that's just anticipating, looking at what they may like or enjoy, and it adds to the experience.
Can you give me a specific example of a time where you had a client where this is what you did, you anticipated something, and then this is what you did that totally changed the transaction, made them were a raving fan customer, gave you lots of referrals?
Sure. I'll give you one that was a bad situation avoided. I had a player, an NBA player, who was traded to the Lakers. And I'm based in LA, so I got the call.
Anthony Davis.
I'll be telling that story next year. I'm working on it. I'm trying to get him. But no, this it wasn't Anthony Davis. But but we found him a place and we wrote a lease. And I put a provision in the lease that said if he was traded, he didn't have to honor the remainder of the lease, right? That we could pay a 1 to 2 month penalty versus, the rest 8 months, 10 months, 6 months, whatever of a 12-month lease. And sure enough, 4 months into it, season had started, boom, he got traded. Wow. And so, we saved him thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that he wouldn't have otherwise, saved, because I'm used to dealing with these kind of situations, and told him this is what we should do to protect you.
Very cool. Okay. Every industry's got its own challenges.
Yep.
Luxury is its own unique beast. It has major effects with the economy when it goes up and down, and maybe there's some other challenges that people don't know about. So if people are thinking about getting in the luxury industry, what are some of the challenges that they need to be aware of? Yeah,
so in the luxury market, things are a little bit different. They can be different. The homes, the price points, the time on market, it's sometimes exponentially longer. There are fewer buyers as prices increase. So you have to be ready for that. Marketing these properties can be an arm and a leg. I can look at a typical condo and it might cost me $1,500 to $2,000 to market it from soup to nuts. And you go into some of these luxury properties and it can be $20,000 before you even get an offer. It's just like, wow. So, you have to be ready to invest in that, invest in the properties and even the time on market. There's just a couple of things to be aware of.
What are some of the things that you're facing right now in your business? When you think about these are the challenges I face, maybe there's some people watching that can help me overcome this. What are some of the things that are on your mind right now?
Sure. I think, right now for me, I think the challenge I'm facing and seeing a lot of people face is we're in a transitioning market. It's kind of a weird market in that it's turning more towards a buyer's market. Interest rates are still extremely low, so you would think buyers would be all over that. But the buyers are also pickier. They're pickier. They're not as motivated to buy as I've seen in other markets. So that's something we've been dealing with, both with when we get an offer, getting our sellers to be, more receptive of the offer, because we don't get offers as much as we were.
Why do you think that is?
It's hard to say. I think that there's a little bit of waiting to see where the market's going to go. Like buyers are sensing, they're smelling blood in the water of the market shifting again. So there's this, let's wait and see how low prices go. We're seeing it trending down a little bit. Let's wait a little bit longer. Timing the market is never a great idea, but there is some of that going on right now.
Are there any other changes you've seen to the consumer? Because one of the biggest things is home ownership is just on the decline, across the board for all age groups and all price points. Are there any other changes that you're seeing in the consumer? You've been doing this for 16 years. What do you see?
I think across the board there are different changes, but they're sort of situational, if you will. So first-time home buyers are changing in terms of what their needs are. Luxury home buyers are changing. We're seeing a lot of these builders building homes that are now not resonating with buyers. These huge white boxes. People want something that has a little more life to it, a little more feeling to it. And even homes that can keep up with trends right now, right? So for example, I met with a builder and he built a sort of a reception area outside the front doors, a gated area for all of your Amazon deliveries, food deliveries, where they can get buzzed in, leave it in that front protected area, but not have to come into the house. And you can buzz them in from your phone. Just simple things like that that are forward thinking, and even for luxury consumers in general, it's not about just pure opulence anymore. It's about thoughtfulness. Even if it's super expensive or even big, it still has to be thoughtful and meaningful. There has to be a reason around that building.
So how much, one of the challenges, I went through a buying scenario recently and I was looking at all these houses and I'm like, it's kind of what I want, but there's these things I want to change to it. And I feel like, especially with the affluent people who are more picky, how many houses are really going to meet all their interests, or do they have to do a lot to the house and then the agent has to be aware of how much everything costs and now who can do all these renovations and changes to it?
There's some of that for sure. And sometimes we bring in other people to do that. I did a deal just last year. Exactly that. The first showing was fine. The house needed a lot of love. So we brought in a designer and walked through the house, and a contractor as well, walked through the house and started getting bids on what it would take. And it was almost $1 million of work. But we factored it into the offer, and the client bought the house, because then with that visualization of what it could be, it all of a sudden made sense.
Are there any technologies that you've implemented over the last few years that have really like helped you get more clients and grow your business, or serve your clients a whole lot better?
Yeah, some of them are proprietary to even Compass. Compass has some great technology. We have a whole engineering team and design teams that just work on that stuff. So, our Compass Coming Soon tools, and even our agent networking tool that allows us to reach agents in a certain area that are selling at a certain price point much faster. These are things that are great. Our Insights tool lets us see where buyers are looking at our listings from. So I like those tools. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I use outside of that. Even social media, the way social media has grown has been tremendous in terms of putting my brand out there, sharing listings,
What's your
getting more
platform?
Instagram.
Instagram?
Yeah, Instagram is what I use the most. I'd say Facebook would be second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about YouTube? YouTube is not.
I need to do
more
a
video,
lot
more video
more
on Facebook.
A lot more video on YouTube. I need to do a lot more
because Facebook has been getting people more. I know for me, I get more views on Facebook through video.
Right.
Even though I personally watch video on YouTube.
I agree.
Compass has this. I would love to get your thoughts on. They have this exclusive, like the whole. It seems like a lot of brokerages are going to this exclusive listings element to get people to go to Compass's website or this other brokerage's website.
Correct.
And in the luxury market, there's less buyers for homes. And so is there not a fear by some of the sellers that if we only put it on this exclusive platform for a little while, we actually won't get it to the audience size that we maybe need in order to find the buyer for my really expensive home?
It just depends. It just depends. So like I've been at it for long enough, and I've worked with a few different offices, and because of my visibility in the marketplace, I have the relationships and reach necessary to touch the people who have the buyers, right? And with some of our more exclusive listings, it's a better marketing tool to pitch it while it's off market. I have arguably the largest database of sports entertainment contacts in the country, like arguably, and that's everything from the business managers to the wealth managers to the attorneys to the actual athletes and entertainers themselves. But the only thing I will send to that email list are off markets. If something's on market, why send it to them? It's not bringing value, right? And so it's nice to even have that runway for people who not just want, but sometimes demand an off-market purchase.
Because it seems more exclusive.
Seems more exclusive, and sometimes it's better for privacy.
Like it's like psychology a little
It's the
bit.
psychology, and they can do a more discreet transaction. They can put it in a trust, or
What are when you think about getting clients, like you spend time getting clients, building this database, what are your major strategies to go grow your business and get these clients?
For me, it's been a little bit more of brand building, and using the different platforms, using social media platforms, using digital ads. Like I do a lot of boosted posts and things online that create visibility that lead to calls. And I do things that are traditional as well. Like I made up this thing that it has to be just marketing in general for yourself and for your properties. 2/3 tried and true, 1/3 sexy and new, right? The 2/3 tried and true is you can't outthink the market, period, right? You can't say, you know what, I'm going to do something totally different. I'm going to advertise, under couches. So when kids are looking for their toys under couches, they're going to find my flyers. That doesn't make any sense. You have to at least be on the MLS. Zillow's going to pick it up. Trulia's going to pick it up. The places that people are organically looking. Then you have to look at how can I be proactive and do things that are a little bit new, that might catch people in a different way or on a different platform that's brand new.
Yeah. What are some cool, sexy, and new ideas that you've done before in the past?
List your home with me and you'll get to see.
Yeah. All right. That's a good pitch.
There we go.
I'm tempted. I'm intrigued. Okay. So if you were talking to another luxury agent,
sure,
and that person was like, I don't have as many resources, I don't have as big of a brand of a database as you, but I do want to grow my business.
Sure.
What would be some of your things that you would tell me?
You have to start somewhere. One is to start even learning the market. Know what you need to know. We're fortunate in that we literally have the key to the city. We can go to brokers' open houses, we can preview properties, because when the chance comes to service that type of client, you need to have a knowledge base to be able to deliver. And the knowledge base can come online, You know, it can come from seeing the properties, it can come from working with other agents. Secondly, when you get your first chance at maybe listing a property, co-list it. I tell people all the time. I even have what I call a preferred partner program now, where agents in my marketplace can call me to co-list properties if they need extra firepower or extra bang for their buck. You know, and it's been great. You know, agents call me and say, hey, look, I need, you know, a little bit more firepower. We go in, we pitch, we get the listing, and work it together.
So, because on those millionaire shows, all of them, when they talk about co-listing, they're like, I hate co-listing with the other agents, but maybe a junior agent, it's smarter to co-list with a senior agent. The senior agent's like, great, I'm getting more deal flow without that much effort. The junior agent's like, hey, I'm getting access to stuff that I wouldn't have normally.
Exactly.
Cool, okay. Now, one of the things I was really impressed and surprised about was that you have done some videos about, in order to sell a house, you get involved in the community. You leverage the community, you leverage the businesses to help sell like a house, which sometimes luxury and community don't seem to talk. Luxury is its own community versus the geographical neighborhood and community. But you seem to have done it before. How come you get the community involved, and what are some of the ways you've done it?
It's different for different communities, you know. That said, you know, knowing what's going on in the community, supporting local businesses, supporting local charities or foundations are great ways to meet the people in that community. I think as you go into more affluent communities, the term community is a little bit abstract, right? So for example, I did an event with Hublot, the watch company. And we had an event in their store in Beverly Hills that built community. There are people from the area in Beverly Hills, there are people that I brought in from my team, and in that room there was a community of people who love watches, you know, a community of affluent clientele who have some things in common. And so that is also a form of community. And so I think there are different ways to tackle it, but agents who focus on a geographic farm, you have to start learning about, you know, the ins and outs of that neighborhood, get to know people in that neighborhood, because they become talking points when you're selling the lifestyle.
Now, some agents will be like, yeah, but that sounds like so much work to like go get to know the neighborhood and the people who live and work there. What would you say to those people? What
worth having is not going to be hard work. Like, you have to work.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy. I work hard every single day. You know, it's a grind. It's a hustle. But I know what's on the other side of it, you know, and part of the hard work is not just chasing something, but it's also realizing my own potential. Like, if you know you have the potential in you to do it, you should be driven to realize that potential. If you know you can do better for yourself, why not push yourself to do it? And that's part of where even my own sports backgrounds come in. Like, when you have to get up at 5 in the morning and run and jump and lift and all this stuff until you damn near throw up, real estate, come on, I'm trying not to curse, but I'm like, that shit is easy. Like, come on, are you kidding? Yeah, so no, but you have to work hard. You have to be really willing to work hard. And everything you do will not be in your comfort zone. Like, so, you know, I say find some things that do resonate with you. Like, if you're great with people, then you should do a lot of interacting with people. Maybe your follow-up sucks. Well, stretch yourself in building your follow-up, because if you don't follow up, meeting them is useless, right? So part of what you do is going to be outside of your comfort zone, no matter what.
If you don't follow up, meeting them is useless.
That's right.
That. All right, so I got some lightning round
fire
questions.
Let's knock it out.
What's your favorite place to go in your community, in your neighborhood? What is your favorite place to go?
Any of the watch companies. I'm a watch
guy.
I love watches.
Okay. What's your favorite thing to do? Activity, hobby, interest?
Probably working out.
Yeah.
You know, I don't do it enough, but I like working out. It clears my mind, takes my mind off of work, and it's fun.
What's your favorite food?
Seafood, hands down.
Yeah?
Shrimp, crab, scallops. I love seafood.
What about your favorite genre of music?
Yikes. I don't know. I'm a little bit across the board right now.
Okay.
I'm a little bit across the board. So if you looked at my Pandora right now, you would see Jadena Radio, you'd see Calvin Harris, you'd see Drake. You know, so I like hip hop. I like you know, dance music. I like smooth jazz sometimes to calm down, and you'd see Bob Marley in there.
Yeah.
So I like music, man. I like music. It's great.
Who are some of the people that you look up to, that you are influenced by in business?
Interesting. So, you know, I recently had a chance to meet Don Peebles, and Don Peebles is the largest African American developer in the country. And so that was a great, I'd read his book 10 years ago and I met him just this year. So that was a great, chance encounter.
What were some of the things, what was one thing maybe you got from that conversation you learned from him?
Thinking differently. I had a chance to hang out with him a little bit and he just thinks bigger. He thinks on a different level. I'm in residential and I'm starting to get into development, and he's been in development for years. So being able to pick his brain a little bit and even look to him as a sort of a mentor figure where I haven't had mentors in this career is pretty amazing.
Any books that you've read in the past that really gave you a lot of good knowledge that helped you in your career that you tell other realtors to read?
Yeah. I like business books.
Yeah.
I'm reading a book right now called Atomic Habits. It's a pretty good one. What else?
What habit are you trying to create or instill?
It's just really tweaking small things that will get you there. Like my mantra, I have a bracelet that says it's focus and finish, and it's focusing on the small steps that will lead you to your bigger goals. And you can create those habits on a daily basis of starting to redefine yourself. And in redefining yourself, you're creating a new filter for every action that you take, right? So if I define myself as you mentioned, as a real estate mogul, well, what would a real estate mogul do on a daily basis? They're not going to complain about working hard or about working a neighborhood. They're going to mogul it out, right? They're going to go for it.
I love it.
Just made that up. Mogul it out. We're going to
mogul it out.
Let's mogul it out.
Mogul it out. Let's do it. Okay. What do you think agents waste their money on?
Shiny objects. So the reason I say shiny objects is because there's all kinds of marketing tools, lead gen tools, and I think, to be honest, a lot of them actually work, but they jump ship too fast. So they'll do it for a month and then say this isn't working, then they'll do another one for a month. Well, it's just like diets. Most diets will work. If you stick with them 3, 6, 9 months, you will see results. It's when you keep changing that you're never going to see results. So whatever your lead gen is, you have to put in the time. If you're door knocking, it takes a long time. If you're doing mailers to a farm, it takes a long time. But if you do it for a month and do this farm for a month and that farm, you'll never see results. So shiny object syndrome, you got to avoid that.
If you guys aren't energized and inspired by this, I don't know what will. I love your energy, man.
Yeah.
You got good stuff to bring and some really cool lines I liked out of this one. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Yes,
it was
definitely.
great to meet you. And as always, if you guys want to meet more leaders in real estate, whether they be luxury or developers or tech people, then you got to subscribe to the show. Click the subscribe button, the bell icon, or if you're listening on podcast, so you get notified on all the future episodes so you guys can learn more and be great in real estate.